idea that this place can exist, all this wetlands, all these swamps, all this open space, I mean, literally so close to Midtown Manhattan right there. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, and that's kind of like, it's one of these things that's kind of hard to tell in images.
But he's tried. Over 10 years, Joshua Lutz has made photographs of the Meadowlands. Now a book has been published by Powerhouse Books.
You know, the project, it evolved so much over those 10 years. And when I first started shooting it, I was really strictly only interested in spaces like this, you know, coming out. And, you know, I really liked the idea of just being out, being alone, exploring, just finding these different places. And, you know, I guess, you know, part of photographing for me is like, it's this idea of evidence, you know. It's like that this exists. Look at this. This is amazing. This is an amazing place. Come check this out.
And now they can be seen in the book and at galleries like this one in Chelsea, the heart of New York City's art scene.
The whole project ostensibly started as a search for Jimmy Hoffa's remains, but that's, you know, sort of a joke and tongue-in-cheek. I think Josh, he's an artist, and he was thinking about this place that a lot of people just kind of ignore. It's a place off the highway that they don't think much about when they're on their way to somewhere else. And so I think that sort of mystery is what initially drew him to the area. And then once he started exploring and getting lost and meeting people, you know, that's what kept his interest for 10 years. First and foremost, technically, they're just amazing. Josh shoots everything with an 8x10 view camera, and the prints themselves are just so crystal clear and gorgeous. But secondly, he had a really interesting take on tackling a project like the Meadowlands. At first, they appear to be documents, but when you start to dive into the project a little deeper, you soon realize that it's not a documentary project at all, and there's something much deeper and quirkier going on that runs through all of these pictures.
The best-selling author of Rats wrote the introduction to Joshua's book. Robert Sullivan also wrote a book about the Meadowlands.
You know, when I saw these photographs, just everything sort of came back up again. He's kind of hit all the great notes that I think you feel or see if you spend a lot of time in the Meadowlands. If you're attracted to the Meadowlands as a, you know, as a subject, to sound kind of highfalutin about it. You have the dead body aspect, which he kind of nails with a dead body or a dead-looking body. I'm not sure it's actually a dead body. You also have the kind of straight, you know, horizon, that horizontal line of the Meadowlands, especially on gray days, where it's gray water, gray sky, and just this line of you know, landfill in the middle of it. He got that on several shots. And then he got there's this great kind of, you know, incidental, serendipitous, you know, what the heck is that feel about the Meadowlands? This is truly one of the greatest things about the Meadowlands, that you can just drive into it and just kind of open yourself up, and you come upon stuff that just confuses or delights you or whatever. Basically, it comes down to the fact, probably, that it's water, and we're all just kind of drawn to water for probably good reason.
I mean, I love this place. I really do. I love being here. I love the water. I love the open space. I mean, all of these things. I couldn't be doing it for so long if I didn't love it.
How Joshua approached the idea of the Meadowlands evolved over the 10 years of his project. How he took pictures changed too.
I would go out, and often I would go out with the camera, and I would drive around, and I'd find something, and I'd take a picture. And then I got to a place where I became more and more invested in the idea of this as a project.
And that meant thinking about how the images fit together as a whole, and searching out pictures that were important to what the Meadowlands is.
You know, you can hear the plane going by, and you know, planes are a big thing in this area. There's planes everywhere. There's an airport right here. So I started thinking about planes, you know, and I really wanted to have a couple images with planes. So it went from sort of this thing where I would find things to having things that I had wanted, and then I would go and search for those things.
How did I meet him? I don't know. The phone rang one day, and Josh said, baby, Josh said, can I come take your picture? I don't know. Ask him. Then he says, where should we take the picture? I take him. I said, well, let's go look at the ruins of the lunatic asylum in Secaucus, Snake Hill, the oldest public mental health facility in America. Well, the ruins of it. And there, standing on the top of those ruins, with the turnpike going behind me, he says, stand like this. And it was this wonderful moment in the Meadowlands, in this 2-second stillness, while he holds this old camera open, and well, it was magic, and the picture that he made was magic. I always thought when I would come to New Jersey, I would be in this placeless wasteland of tract houses, this nowhere. But I was so wrong, because even the tract houses of New Jersey are someplace, and I've learned that. But the Meadowlands is this mystical, magical place.
So the Meadowlands is a giant glacial lake. First it's ice, and then the ice melts, and then it becomes a lake, and then the lake starts to drain, and the lake pretty much drains out, but it doesn't quite drain out, so that in the bottom is this kind of muddy swampiness. People say, oh, the swamp, I hate the swamp, fill in the swamp. Okay, what should we throw in the swamp? Throw the garbage in the swamp. So the garbage throwing begins, and the height of it is in the 1950s, when all the giant mountains of garbage are on fire. They're burning all the garbage dumps with legal garbage, whatever that means, and illegal garbage, whatever that means. And then around the 60s, they say, forget it, we can't burn anything anymore. So the sort of gates of hell begin to close, and the Meadowlands, people start to realize, you know, we can't just treat this like this. At the same time, people like me notice that people have been thinking it's important the whole time, that there are people hidden in these cracks in this place. We know that it's a charm-filled place.
The one thing that, like, I hope that no one gets from the book is the idea that I'm coming to any sort of conclusion whatsoever about this place, because that's definitely something that over the course of the project really changed. You know, I mean, when I first set out to do this, I mean, I really wanted this to be a documentary project. I mean, I really felt that I could document this place, and somewhere in there come to some sort of conclusion about it. But God, I mean, in the end, I couldn't even begin to come to conclusions, just a whole bunch of questions.